inside. But, like...
Okay, y'all. So we are legit doing some impromptu real estate investing training. And it's very rewarding for me right now because the student is becoming the teacher now. So I am going to flip the camera over and we are going to showcase some live impromptu real estate investing training. Boy, we'll just hot over a seat so we can all be on this sucker. All right. I'm going to post this on YouTube as well.
All right.
So if you haven't already, go to youtube.com/AnthonyMoore2 and you will be able to get all of this valuable free content on how to wholesale. All right. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let Boy Wonder explain to everybody what wholesaling is and how we get into it. This is exciting. All right, so we're going to use our bag of chips as this bag of chips represents a house. All right, so I'm going to tee it up. Boy Wonder's driving around. Skirt, stop. He sees like, oh my goodness, this bag of chips, it has grass growing all over it. It's got mold in it. It's got caved in, like the bag is open, so you know the chips inside is stale. Like, oh my gosh. Most people are going to pass by this bag of chips, but Boy Wonder knows that there's probably some hidden jewels inside this bag of chips. And so, what are you going to do? So right now, Brittany owns this bag of chips. But she don't live here. She was renting it out. She was renting this bag of chips out. The tenants moved away. And now the bag of chips is just sitting here. It just looks overrun. And Boy Wonder, where his investor eyes comes through and sees it, what's up?
So, to wholesale it, you just middleman the deal. I'd go to Brittany and say, yo, Britt, I'll pay you $30,000 for your bag of chips. And she's probably like, okay, I just want out of this property. Township's about to condemn it anyways. It's too much money to stay into it. And I go, okay, great. Then I go to my good friend Anthony Moore.
But wait a minute. Before you get there, you know this bag of chips is based off the properties, the other bag of chips in the area. How much is this bag of chips worth?
I'd say the bag of chips now might be worth like 40 grand or something like that. But I'd say I would go to Anthony or another real estate investor and just be like, hey, I got this bag of chips. If you put 50 grand into it, it's going to be worth $250,000.
All right.
Then Anthony goes, yeah, that sounds like a great deal. I'm giving you 50. I'm giving you say 40. And I'm putting in 50, so I'm all in at 90, and then it's worth $250K. It sounds great. And then I make the money in the middle because Anthony pays Britt the 30 grand. She's whole. She's out of the property. Doesn't have to deal with it anymore. And then I make the 10 grand in the middle because Anthony said he'd pay $40 for the contract that I got for 30. Anthony puts in another $50,000 and then walks away making a ton of money. So everybody kind of wins at the end of the day.
So describe the process then. So what are you going to do to get this bag of chips away from Brittany?
Essentially, you just have to put it under contract. I know we talked about that a little bit in the past. You just get it under contract, and every contract, if it's written well, at least will have an assign clause so that you can assign the contract to whoever you want, and you exercise that clause in the contract to be able to wholesale, essentially.
So you go find a property.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, you go driving down the street and go find a property.
Mm-hmm.
So once you find the property that you see, so you like, 1, 2, 3.
Main Street.
1, 2, 3, yeah, Main Street, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I go down, downtown, or I'm looking on Google on my phone or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I find whoever the owner is.
Yeah.
And that's who I'll call, and I say, okay, I want to buy your house for such and such.
Mm-hmm. You just make a connection with them. Like, a lot of times, like, at least, I know this is kind of non-traditional, but what Anthony and I have had a lot of success with is, especially with Clover Lane, huge shout out to any of those people if they're watching, is success with neighbors, like talking to the neighbors. Because then when you talk to that person, you can be like, oh yeah, I talked to, John and Betty from across the street, and they were talking about how your family lived in this house, and like what kind of motivated the seller for Clover Lane to sell is Anthony and I talking to him about how we were going to restore that house to how it was when he was growing up. So you make the connection with the person, because a lot of times the people with distressed houses, like, no offense to those people, but there's a reason. You know what I mean? So you make a connection with them, and then you're like, you know what? I want to buy your house. We'll settle in 30 days. And then that's when you assign it to somebody like Anthony after you get it under contract.
That's legit. So to recap, this is exactly what happened at Clover Lane. So let me tell you exactly how it happened at Clover Lane. Because I have a lot of people that reach out to me and they're like, hey, and you guys don't even realize, I just started doing this last year, right? So, I'm not like, I don't have 30 years experience as a real estate investor and house flipper. I literally started last year. That was it. And so the way it happened is I'm driving along in my automobile, I'm zigzagging through neighborhoods. So it's called driving for dollars, right? I left a meeting. I zigzagged through a neighborhood I'd never been through before. And as I'm driving, this property catches me out the left side of my vehicle. I'm out the driver's side of the vehicle. I see it out the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh my God. So trees were all growing all over the place. Weeds overtook the front and the backyard. Vines were growing up the property in the front, the side, and the back. It had no gutters. The downspouts were corroded, deteriorated, and rusted away. And I'm like, man, ding, 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 ding. Something is going on with this property. I bet you there's a homeowner that is having difficulty and doesn't want to be here. Because I rode past it and I'm looking inside, like looking through the windows and whatnot. It's crap everywhere. The roof literally was like, 1940 cedar shake. Literally the original shingles from the house. All right. So 1940 is when that house was built. 2019 is when I saw it. Okay. That's 79 years for those who ain't good at math. All right. So it's about time for that house to be, renovated. So I put a note on the door saying, hey, my name is Anthony. I buy houses. I like to renovate and help folks. I'd love to purchase your property. Please give me a call. And literally he gave me a call, right? But let's just say that he didn't give me a call. Then I could have gone to a multitude of resources to skip trace that number and find out who the owner is, what their phone number is, and call them and see if I could build a report. This gentleman called me back, which was outstanding. And unfortunately, it took a while to, get the deal done. But for sake of argument, or sake of saving time, I'm not going to get into all that tonight. But I'll tell you exactly how it went down, right? So legitimately, I went to him, huh?
I'll stop you for a second.
Yeah.
So you said skip trace.
Skip trace is basically a way of saying looking up a name and looking up a number. Thank you, Britt. So when you hear people say skip trace an address or skip trace the owner, what they're basically saying is there's software, free and some paid, where you can actually go and take the address that you get. Now here's a free nugget. If you go to truepeoplesearch.com, that's truepeoplesearch.com, type in the address of a property, then you literally will be able to, why is this thing cutting out on me again? That is so annoying. You can literally find out who the owner is, and you can find out what their current address is, and you can also even look up their number, like look up their phone number, literally, and call them if you need to, all right? So in this case, we didn't have to skip trace because the guy called us back, which is outstanding. Oh, let me fix this again, which was really cool. So over time, we built a rapport with him, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you several examples of what could have happened, all right? So I could have gone to him and say, hey, Mr. Owner, my name is Anthony. I know you want to get rid of this property. This is so annoying. I need to get me a real gimbal. I want to get rid of this property. Can you help? And, I could have put that property under contract for $40,000. All right. Now, I know that based on the site visit that I did going through the property, I know that this property needs no less than $60,000 worth of repairs. Okay, so I go to him and say, hey, look, I need to put $60,000 repairs in this property. So I can only offer you $40,000. Is that something that you're willing to consider? And he's like, you know what? $40,000 for this piece of crap property that I'm holding on to, and it's full of crap. Yeah, I could do it, but I just don't know. I need to clean it out. And I say, look, Mr. Seller, I am willing to clean this property out for you if you're willing to sign, and we can close within 30 days. He says, okay, $40,000, it's yours. All right, so I write a contract up between me and Mr. Seller for $40,000. All right, then I come over here to Britt, and I know Britt flips a lot of properties. I know that based off of the comps in that area, that this property is going to sell for no less than $200,000. Like, I know that. I know that at a minimum it's going to sell for $200,000. So I'm thinking, all right, I got it under contract for 40. I know that it takes $60,000 of renovations. I padded that number because I'm a savvy wholesaler and real estate investor. So I know this. And so I put it under contract for 40. I go to Britt and say, look, I got a beautiful property in suburban school district. It's going to be worth $200,000 at a minimum. Yeah, I'm being very conservative about this price. It's probably going to go for more than that, but it's going to be at least $200,000. All right. So I tell you what, I will sell my assignable, equitable interest in this property to you, and you can purchase this property that's worth $200,000 after you put $60,000 of renovation into it. I will sell it to you for $50,000. And Britt's like, $50,000, I put 60 into it, and I can sell it for 200. I'll do that deal all day. So I'm like, okay. So I have a contract between me and Mr. Seller for $40,000, and I write up a separate contract, an assignment contract, and I assign my equitable interest, aka my contract in that property in suburban school district. I assign that to her for $10,000 fee. Right? So she's going to go. I'm going to give her my contract between me and Mr. Seller. I'm going to give her my assignment contract that says I'm assigning this contract to you, and we're going to go to closing. So in 30 days, we go to closing, and we sit down, and they're going to go through the line items. They're going to say, okay, this contract, the purchase price is $40,000. All right. She is purchasing it for $50,000, which 50 minus 40 is $10,000. All right. Anthony is the one who found this property and connected Mr. Seller with Brittany. And so my fee for doing my due diligence, finding the property, negotiating with the seller, looking at the renovation costs, and making sure there's no liens on the property, my fee for doing all that is $10,000. So when we go to the closing table, they're going to write up a check. They're going to give Mr. Seller $40,000, which is what I promised him. Brittany's going to give me $10,000 because that was my assignment fee for bringing such a great and juicy deal to her. So I walk away with $10,000. The seller walks away with $40,000. She walks away with a property that she's going to put $60,000 into and sell it for $200,000. She does that, so she walks away with a $50,000 property. Okay, she's going to put $60,000 into it. So $60,000 plus $50,000 is $110,000. Okay, then she's going to sell it for $200,000. All right. Well, $200,000 minus $110,000, which is her all-in cost, is $90,000. So she's winning big time as a fix and flipper. All right. I'm winning because I didn't do all that work to renovate the property, find the contracts, get all the permits, go through all that, find in buyer and all that. I didn't want to do all that. All I wanted to do was find the property and get rid of it and put it off for somebody else. So I get my $10,000 for doing my bit of work. She gets $90,000 for doing her bit of work. And the seller is out of that distressful situation. They don't have to worry about the township condemning the property and all that good stuff. So the seller wins, I win, she wins, Boy Wonder wins because he knows us. And life is good. So literally, that's all it is, y'all. So if anybody looking to get started in real estate, all you need is a car and some gas. That's it. And even if you don't have a car and some gas, if you've got friends that have a car, or if you got some money, you can pay an Uber driver to drive you around for 20 or 30 minutes. You know, you can find vacant or distressed properties that look like nobody's living there. They've been abandoned. You can skip trace that address, find the owner, call the owner, see if the owner wants to sell, put the house on the contract, sell that contract to a fix and flipper investor, and then walk away with the money in the middle. There's all sorts of guys that do just that. You know, Fahad's doing it, Mike Moyer's doing it, Ricky Chappelle's doing it, Eric Lasher made a whole business out of it. You know, he's pulling in a lot of money. I'm going to put his business out there, but he's putting in mad money a year just playing the middle. That's all you do as a wholesaler. You play in the middle. And it can be very, very, very profitable, very, very lucrative for you to do that. So, again, it's December. It's investor season. Giving this information away for the free. All I'm asking for is a subscribe on my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Anthony Moore 2. Hit that subscribe button. Check out a couple of the videos, especially the Clover Lane renovation project. We've got all those videos in a playlist. Tag that, share it. We're going to be sharing content all investor season long. So you got Boy Wonder here laughing. You got Britt here. You got Anthony here. Eden Mandate LLC, restoring lives one home at a time, giving you all this free, valuable content showing you how to get money in investor season. So y'all take care. Be safe out there and have a good night.